Before we get to our own dialogue, I have to address something for y'all, because so many have asked, do I say black people or African American? And the simple and shortest answer is black, because it's not only most accurate, it's also least offensive. Keep in mind, not all black people in America are African. There are Jamaicans, there are Cubans, but also there's some black people that don't identify as African because that heritage got stripped from them during slavery. So
I am a Black American and I absolutely love to travel to the continent of.
This is for the African Americans who think exactly like her, because I know it's not all of you. Whenever you decide to buy a ticket and visit another country, predominantly Africa or the Caribbean, can you please make sure to leave that stereotypical mindset that was inflicted upon you by these white people that oppressed you at the door before you enter? And if you can't do that, simply don't go.
An African American guy approached me yesterday at the gym, and I told him that I don't date African Americans. And he quickly jumped the gun and was like, oh, is it because we don't have a culture? That's what y'all think? I said, sir, this does not have nothing to do with you, but with me. I said, sir, I don't speak English. I don't know how to speak English. He was like, well, you're well spoken to me. No, give about 2 hours of being with me. You'll be asking yourself, what are you saying? Every day you'll be like, come again, come again. I don't want to be coming again every time. I cannot even joke with you. You'll be asking me. You say, baby, that's not how you said that. Don't correct me. I don't want. After pretending to speak in medical terminology at work, I cannot even pronounce those medical words. You see me stressing those medical words to say it. You'll feel sorry for myself. I have to be stressing it. Hi, hapo. No, it's okay. My boss often said, if you want to catch Miriam, catch her from 8:30 to 10:30. By that time, she speaks good English. After that, whatever you get, you on your own. And guys, after 2 hours, I'm tired. It's a full-time job. Sometimes, I'm speaking good English at work. I'll be speaking in a tone voice. My voice is sweet. Everything is calm. And then what they're hearing is a real African lady speaking breaking English. So I can only do 2 hours in a day.
Hello my people, welcome back to the channel, and if you're coming across this channel for the first time, you're also highly welcome. We're back again with another interesting video. With me here is a guest that is not coming to this channel for the first time. This is a usual guest, and this is a YouTuber. His name is Evans from Kenya, and that is his YouTube channel. He also does content that has to do with geopolitics, African Americans, and much more. Check out his interesting content. I will link his video to the description of this video, his channel to the description of this video, so you can check him out. Yes. So without wasting so much of your time, I want us to delve into today's content. And in this video, I just want us to talk a little bit about a contentious issue, a fight between brothers, or a fight between siblings, I can say. In my view, I call them siblings, because siblings are, in my definition, people born of the same parent. Yes. And these people I'm talking about here is Africans and the African Americans, or the Black Americans. Which one addresses them better in your view? Black Americans or African Americans?
We can't use the word Black Americans. I think the right word to use is African Americans, because I believe all black people are Africans and not all Africans are black people. Yes.
Okay, so at that point, and without wasting so much of your time, let's pick it from there. Let's watch this video that shares in the sentiments of my brother that all black people
are Africans.
But
not all Africans are black people.
Okay, so let's watch this video.
Africans here in the U.S. are English-speaking Africans. Africans in Trinidad are English-speaking Africans. Africans in Jamaica are English-speaking Africans. Just like Africans who live in Ghana, just like Africans who live in Kenya, just like Africans who live in Zimbabwe. English-speaking Africans are still Africans, no doubt about it. Africans in Haiti are French-speaking Africans. Africans in Martinique are French-speaking Africans. Just like Africans who live in Guinea, just like Africans who live in Algeria, just like Africans who live in the Congo. French-speaking Africans are still Africans, no doubt about it. Africans in Cuba are Spanish-speaking Africans. Africans in Colombia are Spanish-speaking Africans. Africans in Venezuela are Spanish-speaking Africans. Just like Africans who live in Equatorial Guinea, Spanish-speaking Africans are still Africans, no doubt about it. Africans in Brazil are Portuguese-speaking Africans. Just like Africans who live in Angola, just like Africans who live in Mozambique, just like Africans who live in Guinea-Bissau, Portuguese-speaking Africans are still Africans, no doubt about it. We're all Africans, we're all Africans, we're all Africans. Learn to explain it, learn to celebrate it.
Okay, so you have heard the video, and once again, does this video really, as you have heard it, does it try to define an African from your perspective?
Yeah, it does define an African. The problem that exists here is the language you speak. You know, the language you speak should not distract us from who we truly are.
Yes.
There is a special theory in linguistics. It's called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, or language relativity. It tries to tell us that how you speak determines how you think, and the language you speak determines your reality. This is not the case with being called an African and the language you speak. The reason why we are speaking different languages, even though we share the same skin, and even though we are in different places, has an explanation. We are speaking different languages because of colonization. The people who colonized us imposed on us their languages, and our languages that we share as Africans got lost over the years. The people who retained their own languages are the Africans who are left in the continent. The brother was able to say that Africans who are in Jamaica are just Africans black people in Jamaica are Africans. And he also went ahead. By saying this, he was trying to say that the distance does not remove the idea, or the distance does not negate you from being an African.
Your identity.
It
The distance does not remove your identity.
Yes. Actually, your skin itself will sell you out. You are an African. The language you speak, we have a country called Mozambique. Mozambique, they speak Portuguese. We cannot say that a person who is speaking Portuguese, let's say a black person in Brazil speaking Portuguese, is different from a black person in
Mozambique speaking Portuguese.
Speaking the same Portuguese. Why would the black person in Mozambique call himself an African and the other one says no? It doesn't make sense, because the brother has also explained the distance does not explain the difference. You understand? The reason why we have this idea, black people saying, I'm not an African, this and that, if you come to think of it, it is a school of thought, a negative school of thought, by the way, that was imposed to us by the media, by the West. There is a certain black woman, her name is Joy de Grey. Joy de Grey really gives a good explanation as to why the white person had to do what he had to do, because he found no means. He already started it and he had to continue. You know, anytime you are trying to do a bad thing, there will always be a conscience. Your conscience is trying to warn you, this should be what you should be doing, not this other. But you have the power to override the conscience. And when the conscience is knocking and your will is knocking on the other side, an idea or a concept develops, a concept that is known as cognitive dissonance. So, in order to silence the cognitive dissonance, as Dr. Joy de Grey explains, the white person had to include a complex. He had to introduce a complex, and the complex he introduced was white superiority. This white superiority was that he was a greater being, he was perfect than us. It made us feel like anything that is connected to Africa was negative. Anything that was connected with the black skin was negative. And when you are closer to him, you are a superior being. When you are closer to him, you are perfect. I don't think there's a perfect human being. The skin doesn't make us perfect. Actually, the internal organs are the same. A black person can donate their organ to a white person. Mm-hmm. They can donate blood if there was some kind of differences which makes someone superior, even blood donations would not have been possible.
Yes.
But we see a black person, a white person can impregnate a black woman and they give birth to a child. If there was some internal issues, even the child that is being born, the body of the woman would have rejected the sperm from the male and it wouldn't develop. In science, in biology, by the way, we have classification of organisms. And if this concept of white superiority, which is bringing Africans to think that black people to think they are not Africans, the white superiority is, I'm repeating, the white superiority will make black people think they are not Africans. And here is another argument I'm introducing. According to the classification of the taxonomical units, which a biologist used to classify organisms, we have the kingdom, we have the division, we have all these. The last one is the species. The species is the last one. All human beings are falling under the same species. We are the same species, white, black in which part of the world. You are the same. You understand? The only difference that exists within the species is the what? Is the DNA. The DNA is what makes us different. It's like the fingerprint. Today I can't go to US and they say I am a black American, that I'm not an African. I won't say that. Despite you knowing me as your friend and you know where I live, you know.
Well, you can go to the US and you can, by any means, legal means, you get citizenship and accepted into the country. But that does not remove you from being African.
Yes.
So what the conclusion we are drawing here is black people, despite of how far and how long they have been outside of the continent of Africa, still remain Africans.
Another thing is this. I was explaining to you about this species. We all belong to the same species, same DNA and all that. DNA is different, sorry. You see, if we were members of different species, we would have not given birth to children. These children, maybe we would have given birth to children, but these children will not have been able to give birth to their children. A good example is Barack Obama. Is Barack Obama an African or is he a black American? That is a question you should ask yourself. We only know Barack Obama publicly because he was once the most powerful man in the world. But take how many Barack Obama are not known. How many of their fathers were Africans and they went over there and maybe they didn't know of their father. Would they call themselves not Africans and black people? You know, the genes of the child, the father is the determinant of sex. And the father was African. A species is a group of organisms whose members can freely interbreed to give birth to viable offspring. The offspring's key word must be viable. They must be able to give birth as well. Obama has given birth to Malia and Sasha, I think so. If Obama is calling himself an African, then I believe all black people are Africans as well. And there is very many arguments I can bring forward to this idea why all black people are Africans. And not all Africans are black people.
Okay, so in as much as we come to that agreement ourselves, we must not deny that there are people out here who are black, but of course are trying to detach themselves from their blackness, I can say, or from their African identity. So on that note, let's share with them another video. Let's watch this short video once again, and then we can add our opinions to it as well.
I'm going to say this one thing about this whole Black Americans don't have culture. Y'all don't know where y'all from. I wish this debate would end because it's always us. For Black Americans to so-called not know where they come from, even though we do know where we come from the Americas, it baffles me how all other Black or African people and everywhere else want to always attack Black Americans. Why y'all always attacking us? Because we have the most prominent culture. If we didn't have the most prominent culture, nobody wouldn't be coming for us. But the reality of it is Black Americans, whether it is positive or not, we built our own culture that's based off of our black experience in America. Everybody be copying it. Everybody, even the Africans be copying it. Y'all be stealing black American culture. Y'all only coming for us because our culture is just that prevalent, that prominent. And then for old girl who brought it up to be saying, we come over here, we do better than y'all. Baby, if it wasn't for my black indigenous culture here in America, you and whoever else wouldn't even couldn't even come over here. You wouldn't have been able to even come over here. And you only coming over here because your family had the money to come over here. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how the only Africans who can actually immigrate and go to school and come to America are the ones who daddy doing some corrupt politician stuff. Y'all got money. The only Africans who can afford to come to America and go to school here and be here are the African parents who have money. So the small percentage of y'all compared to the majority of Africans who are poor, who can't even take a vacation to America. Stop playing. Just stop. Stop. Black Americans, we don't check for nobody, bro. Like, we got so much that we dealing with on our own. We don't check for no other African people nowhere else. We only be worried about ourselves, but everybody else be checking for us. Everybody else coming for us. We don't care about y'all. Like, I don't know. I can guarantee you could come up to any black American in America and ask them if they care about if we think or Africans live rent free in our head. We don't. We don't care. We don't be thinking about y'all. We don't think about where y'all at. We don't think about nothing regarding any other African people, like black people at all. But every time I get on this app, it's like every quarter, some African people from the UK, some African people from Nigeria, African people from Ghana, always saying stuff about black Americans. Leave us alone, bro. We're not thinking about you, sweetheart. We're not. I guarantee you we're not. So
Okay, so what pains me in what she says is the fact that she's trying to draw a barrier between black people, African Americans, and Africans. And the truth is, I agree that there are many African Americans that we know of in person who decided that they needed to move to the continent of Africa, relocate permanently, and start a life there. But we don't also deny that there are others that are not interested, that they want to live in the US and wherever, and which is okay. But the truth goes down to the identity of these people. She talks about Africans copying African Americans because they have their culture. Well, they have a culture because any people who, whenever we group a community together, they will come up with their ways of life, and that is what becomes their culture. And it is not a problem to see from another people and adapt and copy as human beings, because we are social. I often see many things from you, and because I like them, I can copy. And you can see from me, and you like what I do, and you copy. Those that you don't like, you can discard, you know? Personally, I think trying to draw a disconnection between these people was a tactic that was used back in the days by the white imperialists and supremacists, because their tactic was a divide and rule tactic, to make sure that this brother does not care about this other brother, and that they don't love each other, and they set you against me, and they set me against you, and I, forget to realize that you are actually my brother, and that I need you, and that empowerment of one brother is equal to the empowerment of another person. I think we have to fight this rhetoric and this propaganda that is dividing black people. Because as a black culture, we need to come together because in our unity, there is power.
Yeah, sure.
What do you make of her like hate for, you know?
I'm going to take over from where you've stopped. You've said that from our unity there is power. It's true, from our unity there is power. But who gains, or rather who loses when the black person wins? It's a question we should ask ourselves. Who loses when black people win? The person who loses is the person who we should really take care of, not ourselves. Yeah, the person who loses when Africans win. You don't need to explain who that is. You already know who that person is. So it's true, it's very true. Black Americans or African Americans are the ones who built USA in conjunction with other people. But primarily it was the African Americans. You know, the Red Indians would not be used easily. They had good knowledge of their land, what I like to call knowledge of the topography. Yes, so it was hard to capture them and make them stay. They would find a way out and hide in those forests. But
Yes.
the African didn't know the topography well. And the African was easy to tame and all that. They also believed that the African was stronger physically and he was resistant to diseases.
And very resilient.
So these people who are resilient and resistant to diseases and didn't have knowledge of topography, these people were able to be brought over there, work on the cotton farms, work on the sugarcane plantation, work as maids, work as housemaids, work everywhere that was needed. America was not just America. America took time to grow to where it is. It was up to until 1775 when they got their independence from Britain. Britain colonized America.
Yes.
Such a funny thing. So the black Americans, their labor are the ones which was used to build America to what it is today. That one should not be undermined. And I think Africans, the lady was bitter in saying that Africans are insulting them, that they are more successful in America than the black Americans. It's sad to say such things. It is like saying what? It's a sad thing that saying we are successful than you, and the person whom you are telling it to is the person who made it possible for you.
Yes.
To earn that money. You see, you are just successful because an African American shed their blood and they died, so that you yourself, you can come and make money over there. You understand? And then another thing the lady said was, coming to America is a sign of social status. Let me tell you something. Many African Americans might not know this, or many Africans as well. Coming to America is, you don't have to have a lot of money. Nowadays, people have things which are called the green card. People have many ways of moving there. People are even playing football and getting themselves there. Sometimes they go there and they escape. And now they live there as illegal migrants. Until now, they come back and say, the grass is not greener as I thought. It's easier in Africa. They say, we have accounts of people saying that. They even advise you not to move there if you are having a good job here. Just as you said as well, I don't think that all Africans are longing to go to the United States. I don't long to go there.
Not all are longing to go there.
Not maybe in the past, but now with everything that's happening over there, I might go there and be shot, bro. I don't want to.
By a kid.
By a kid. Here in Africa, I can walk anytime I want. I can only be afraid of my phone being snatched, but not being shot at. What are the chances of being shot at in Kenya by a kid or some white person?
Minimum, low to none.
Very, very low. You understand?
Yes.
And the reason why she's saying they also have a culture is something I heard her talking about. Yeah, black Americans have a culture.
They do.
And being disconnected from Africa, as you said, is not something to be actually you are not disconnected from Africa. You are even more connected with how you speak, with the vernacular. You know, black people in America had to develop a vernacular. You know, they're always loud, and they're throwing cussing words. These are words of people who are oppressed over the years. So they had to develop a resilience. They had to develop a certain stamina, you know. And this is shown by how they speak. You are being oppressed because you are taken away from. It's like a child being taken away from her mother's breast. They will cry a lot. And over time, they will grow up and they'll become stronger and very agile and very, very strong. You won't believe this is a child that was taken from their mother.
Yes.
This does not remove the fact that you are taken from your mother while you are sucking your milk. African Americans were taken from Africa, the motherland, to the oppression land, which is Babylon. Here they suffered, and every identity they have is an African identity. They borrow African identity. You might be putting on all kinds of fashion. Yes, it might be different, but internally, you are an African. You are taken away from Africa. It might be 2,000 years ago, or maybe your parents intermingled, like Barack Obama, a good example. There are many ways that makes you an African. Any black person in the continent, no matter how light your skin is an African. And not all Africans are black people.
All right. Thank you for that. And
It was a long one.
I want to just highlight something else. You just said there that currently not all people in the continent of Africa are actually interested in migrating to America or to Europe. And in the same note, not all African Americans are even interested in moving
to
back
Africa,
to the continent.
Yes.
And this has it has really nothing to do with money exactly, but money does play a role here. And something I want to
It's just a tool.
yes, something I want to recognize from what she said is it is true that the black Americans, the African Americans, I love to call them so, are the one that set stage for other Africans to immigrate to America.
Or any other black person.
But the truth is here. I think we are fighting the wrong battle. The battle is not between Africans and African Americans.
Yeah.
The battle should be who is creating the disunity, who is creating the division, who is it benefiting that these black people, a black community, is sabotaged, is subjugated. And we know the truth is other African Americans also want to move back to the continent, but they're not able to.
Yeah.
They are not able to. Let's share one last short clip here, and then we can close the video.
80% of African Americans, stop pretending, cannot afford to come to Africa.
Wow, really?
I'm saying they cannot afford. They may want it in their heart, but America has them shoes, have them bootstrapped, tied. Because guess what? They have to pay mortgage every month. They have to pay their car note every month. They have to pay their insurance every month. They can't even watch DSTV unless they pay every month.
Wow.
So how are you going to have money to say, let me go back and learn about my family, my history, my roots? When every month you have to worry about, I got to pay this. I got to pay. When do you get a break to think?
Wow.
But that's the system. This allows me to control you left, right. Because you never have time to stop and say, oh, how do I work on this, or where do I go from here? You don't have that time. And when you live in America, most people, if they're being honest, on the first of the month, from the first to about the 20th, 25th of the month is when you finish paying your bills.
Wow. Wow.
You probably got about maybe 5 to 7 days in a month that you can actually think without thinking about paying a bill.
Okay, you've heard that. Yeah. So, this, by the way, to set the record straight, the guy in this video is an African American who was blessed, I can say, and managed to move to the continent and stay, and is staying permanently.
Yes.
But he is exposing the truth that not all of us are not all African Americans are ready to accept. That it's not all of them that can even afford to move. They might want in their hearts to move, but are they even able to afford to permanently relocate with all the system that has made everything so hard? And you know that even for African Americans moving back to any given country in Africa, there are a lot of legal processes. There is a lot of money involved. So it is even a very expensive venture. So the truth is, from where I stand, I think this is the wrong battle here is fighting between Africans and African Americans.
Yeah.
What we should be doing is fighting for our unity.
You know what I think as well? I think that who gains when Africans lose? If we find the person who gains if Africans lose, that's the person we should be placing our focus on.
That is the point. I think to close this video, there is an African saying that says, when you fall down, do not look for the place of your falling, look for where you slipped.
Aha.
Yes. Where you failed, it does not really matter. What made you fall
Is what matters.
is what matters.
Yeah.
So we are advocating. We do not say that, African Americans must now just abruptly leave America and move to the continent of Africa. But what we're saying is black people, the black culture must come together and unite for each other. It doesn't matter where we are. You just said clearly at the beginning that distance does not affect our identity. We have come to the close of this video. My guest for today is Evans from Kenya. Is his YouTube channel. You will find the link to his YouTube channel in the description of this video. Please go ahead and check out his wonderful content. Subscribe to his channel as well and support him.
See you in the next one.